We're back, guys. We are back. Just like we said yesterday, same time, same place, different player, same team, but it's Arsenal transfer news and updates on Eze. Prime target for Arsenal, looking like this deal could go through. Advanced talks. We've been talking to Eze's representatives in the background to see if he's interested. But before we go anywhere, please do me a favor, smash the subscribe, hit the likes. We're looking like we're going to hit what? 1.2K today? Who knows? But before we get into that, Akpos, my guy, how you doing, man? All smiles, Gyokeres over the table. How you doing?
I'm doing good, brother. Good to be on the channel again, and hopefully it's going to be yet another interesting and entertaining discussion. And shout out to you, shout out to everyone in the chat, shout out to DWTT, and hopefully this is going to be, an amazing Arsenal discussion, an amazing transfer, conversation.
Yeah, man, I'm hoping so too. Like, to be honest, right now, Arsenal felt like we were dormant. You know, we moved somewhat early. You know, new midfielder, Zubimendi in, looking great. You know, I know the deal was done in January, but we was like an anemic transfer window. But now the floodgates are opening. Zubimendi in, Norgard, Kepa, and now Gyokeres, as we discussed yesterday. Signed, sealed, delivered. It's done. It's just a matter of moments. But now Eze. Eze to Arsenal. 13-year-old Eze. Once upon a time, a Haaland boy. Asked to move on. Could possibly have his dreams come true. 14 years later, Arsenal come knocking on the door. Talking to representatives of Eze right now and thinking about maybe paying that £68 million release clause and getting him over to Arsenal. And to be honest, as an Arsenal fan right now, I'm for. I am very much for this transfer. I don't know about you, Akpos, but right now I'm all for Eze to Arsenal and what he could bring to us.
Well, for me, you know what my thoughts are, definitely, bro. You definitely know what my thoughts are. For me, I'm excited about the prospect of bringing in Eberechi Eze to the Arsenal family because, just like you rightly said, this is a player who, at one point, was in our youth setup, was in our academy before we let him go, and this is a player who has been consistent over the last couple of years for that Crystal Palace team. And for me, Eberechi Eze, every time I've watched him, it is an exciting and interesting player to watch. Eze is a joy to watch for me. And for me, I think that midfield, our team currently lacks flair. Our team currently lacks some of that creativity coming out, especially from the midfield. And like we all rightly saw last season, while Martin Odegaard was out injured, we struggled a lot for creativity. Even when Odegaard came back, we also struggled for creativity during those periods, when he was trying to find his rhythm and find his foot. So, and especially with that kind of injury that I sustained, we don't really know what to expect for the early part of next season. So I think Eze bringing in another creative midfielder in the mode of Eberechi Eze would be one that gives us security, would be one that gives us, something to lean on just in case, what's his name? Martin Odegaard is not able to hit the ground running at the early part of next season. But good to have you back. And I hope your camera and all the technical issues you were experiencing is out of the door now, Steve. Good to have you back on the stream.
Cheers. Thank you very much. And look, I was listening in. And to be honest, player like Eze, just like you've said,
yeah,
the dynamic that we haven't seen, an addition to the number 10 role. I mean, we've got Martin Odegaard, an important player for Arsenal, who dropped off last season. And of course, the creativity was out the window. Now, Ethan Nwaneri, an option that wasn't used. But to be perfectly honest, now the chat with Eze, a player who is unpredictable, as we were talking about him backstage, very unpredictable, brings in a bit of an X factor, can play up front, can play on the left. And again, if we had to switch things up, a Declan Rice hits the bench and we have Martin Odegaard beside Eze. Yes, defensively it's not going to be the best, but when we're facing a low block, he adds that spark to the Arsenal attack. Do you know what I mean? Whether it be going forward, whether it be holding back and just trying to play the ball, he holds onto the ball well. He dribbles well. He's great at set pieces. Another player who can actually deliver in the set piece. I mean, Martin Odegaard in set pieces has been abysmal. And just recently, we've noticed that Declan Rice has got a point to prove, pinging the ball into the back of the net. Now, Eze is a player who we all know is decent when it comes to a set piece. And with the chat that I'm hearing at the moment, Akpos, and everyone in the chat, let me know what you think. Arsenal right now are considering possibly activating his release clause. Now, his release clause right now it's a fair chunk. It's massive. It's anywhere between 63 to 65 million pound.
Yeah.
Now, that's massive with the Gyokeres signing coming in. Akpos, do you think this is doable? I mean, with the chit-chat about Rodrigo, can this happen?
Well, for me, I think it will be a massive one. It will be a massive one if we can, get Eze in the door, because Eze is a player who's going to be coming with load bags of Premier League experience. Is going to be coming. I think yesterday we're talking about bringing what the effect could be when you bring a player who is in their prime with Victor Gyokeres, and yet again today we are talking about another player who is already in his prime in Eberechi Eze at 27 years also. So this is a player who's going to be coming on that experience level with that bag load of experience, with that technical know-how, with that gift to unlock defenses. You talk about his ability from outside the box with set pieces, and he can also shoot score screamers from outside the box, also good inside the box, good with one of those 1v1 situations. So for me, Eze is a top signing. I look at Eberechi Eze as yet again another signing that will be exciting for the fan base, another signing that will be exciting also for the top players that we have. So 60 million, 65, 68, thereabout. I think that is going to be a lot. That's a lot of money, but that is also going to be a bargain, in my opinion, because when we consider the amount of money some other players who are not on that level of the likes of Eberechi Eze are currently going into this market, I think also that is not a bad deal to do. But I'm hoping that we could get some kind of agreement, maybe within 60 million pound to 65 million pound, to be able to bring Eze in the door and try to agree on the payment structure and all of that. So I feel like this is a deal that we have to do. I'm hoping that we will do everything possible to make sure that we get this creative further into the team. And Eze is also another player that will come with versatility. He can also play on the wings, on the left wing if need be. And I think that is something Mikel Arteta likes when it comes to his recruitment of players. He likes players who are very knowledgeable to be able to interpret several positions. So I think Eze also, ticks that box in terms of the requirements Mikel Arteta wants from some of his signings.
Dual role, and exciting because what you have is the lackluster left wing. And this is a good point. Big up everyone in the chat. Big up everyone in the chat. BX Gunner in the chat. Yo, my guy, I hope you're doing good. Tamina, back again. Gyokeres in London yesterday to stay. Apparently, I heard him and his missus kind of split because she didn't want to move to London. Did you hear that?
Yeah, I heard that, but I don't know. I'm not sure if it's verified. I saw that around my timeline on X.
I'm like, wow, okay, cool, massive, right? Massive. Adam Emiliano Isak was in London. I don't see it happening. I so don't see it happening. He's probably just coming to buy some clothes, man. Arsenal need to agree a fee with Sporting Lisbon, and apparently it's pretty much done and dusted.
Yeah.
It's just, I think, structure right now. I think it's structure and how the payment's going to go through. Now, this is where we talk about the 68 million pounds as a release clause. Yeah. When you pay a release clause, there is a massive chunk of that needs to be put forward. Now, this is where I keep hearing, they're going to pay the release clause. And I'm like, wait a minute. If Rodrigo is a player that we're still interested in, and we are heavily linked with Rodrigo, the Eze deal, this deal, it needs to be a structured deal, in my opinion, unless, now let me know what you guys think in the chat, unless we're okay with some people heading out the door. Now, if it's Eze to Arsenal, does this mean possibly, because I'm trying to figure out how we can make some money, does it mean that we are looking for an exit for Martinelli or Trossard? Akpos, what would you like, but what do you think would happen on that left-hand side?
Well, I think if we want to get most of these guys that have been linked to us, that we are, making inquiries with their team, with their agents, with their people, definitely would need to let some players go. We need to, bring in some money. Putting Martinelli up there for sale is also one alternative, one of the options that we have. Martinelli is relatively very young, I think 23 now, if I'm correct with age, and Martinelli could easily fetch us between 50 to 60 million pounds, in my opinion. That's, I'm just trying to give a rough estimate out there of what I would, want to request if I'm making a decision. So, but for me, I think Martinelli could easily, fetch us within around 60 million pound mark in terms of revenue, and that would be almost near pure profit, because if you look at how much we spent on Gabriel Martinelli, I think it was about 5 million pounds or thereabout. I think I'm not so sure of the figure now, but I think it was not up to 7 million pounds in my opinion. So that would be like a lot of money coming in terms of profit, in terms of the PSRO and all of that. So I think Martinelli is one option. Trossard yet again is another option, because we know that Trossard, if we want to make the choices, a lot of us want to keep Martinelli because he's the younger version. He has got pace. He could come in, in those closing minutes of the game and use his space to put the fences to the sword. Yes, but Trossard also is also another option, but Trossard will not fetch us as much as Gabriel Martinelli would potentially fetch us, in my opinion. And also, we could also go a different route if we want to put, let's say, we've had talks of Zinchenko being linked with the move away. I think definitely we need to get Zinchenko off the books, because Zinchenko, he could also fetch us some money, and he's on big wage. And also, we could also get some money off of Jakob Kiwior. Personally, I want to keep Kiwior, but at the end of the day, if we want all of these guys to come in, we definitely need to find some compromise to let some players go. Kiwior also could also potentially fetch us a good price. So I think Kiwior, Leandro Trossard, Alexander Zinchenko, these three players could also, fetch us good money to be able to fund a signing of the caliber of Eberechi Eze, in my opinion.
It would be. I think it's the smartest move Arsenal could make. It's time to.
Yeah.
I mean, understandably that we don't need to sell players to sign players, but to sign the caliber of player that we're looking for, we are going to have to look at players like Fabio Vieira, Sambi Lokonga, Alexander Zinchenko linked to Milan. AC Milan were interested. Gabriel Jesus. That's a player who's right now costing us massive amounts of money that we cannot use. We will not use. It's pointless having him in the squad. And in my opinion, it is probably in the best interest of Arsenal now to start not just dumping players, but slowly offloading, so that way we can make these transfers somewhat seamless. I mean, Eze has stated clearly that, just like Gyokeres, he only wants Arsenal. He's literally said it. I only want to move to Arsenal. He wants to come back home. Now, that's massive. Again, another player who's pretty much put his foot in the ground and said, I'm not going anywhere, I'm going to Arsenal. Looks like these players that want Arsenal have now learnt that if they really want it, they got to tell the world they want it. Now, if Eze is coming out to Palace and saying, look, I'm happy to move, but it's only to Arsenal, I can only think that it's going to help us when it comes to the overall price on this transfer. I mean, if no other team can come in for Eze, i.e. Tottenham Hotspur, who, again, are just pissed at us because we're always linked to the players that they want, then it does make it more of a niche market where it's like you've got one possible buyer. And it's a good place for us to be in at the moment. I'm just going to jump into these comments, guys. What do we have? We got, Adam back in the building. As Gyokeres did a DJ Khaled impression with his girlfriend. He said, don't play yourself. And then I said, didn't dump you. God did. You know what? Honestly, I'm hearing he has said, see you later. Apparently, she didn't want to move to London. I don't know, cold weather, Well, but you know how it is. DWTT in the building. Hello, hello. Hello, hello, my guy. Hope you're doing well. I hope you're enjoying the show because this news about Eze is getting stronger and stronger. Here's a good point. Alanga went for 60 million. Adam reckons Martinelli's worth more than that. Based on his form last season, yeah, you could think that. I mean, he's an international. If we could fetch, I don't know, what would you say, Adam? What do you think? 70 in this market? Now wingers are hard to come by. I don't know. Yeah. What do you reckon?
Yeah. But I have one question for Adam. If let's say Arsenal were linked to a player like Martinelli, how high would you want Arsenal to pay? Adam, kindly respond in the comments. I'll be there.
Yeah, that's a good one. What do you think? What do you reckon he's worth? If it was us buying Martinelli, love that. I love that flip back. I think that's awesome. Here we go. Adam's back again. He's on point. He is on point. According to Romano, there is a 5 million difference in the fixed fee. Arsenal offered 65 million euros fixed plus add-ons. Sporting wants 70 plus add-ons. Allegedly, it is very fine print now. And apparently it is literally, from what I'm hearing, and it's not Fabrizio, that it's just a structure. Literally just a structure on Gyokeres. And that's done. Done, signed, sealed, delivered. Gyokeres is ready to go for 5 years, so they've already discussed how much is going to be getting paid. It's literally structural right now for Gyokeres. But, hey, look, in the next coming days, I think Gyokeres is going to be wearing a kit, a number. I don't know what number. I'm hoping it'd be 9, but Jesus obviously is not going to give that.
10 would not be bad. Number 10 would not be bad.
Number 10 would be great, right? Number 10 would be awesome. You know what I mean? That ain't a cursed number. That's a number that pays off. Victor Gyokeres feed agreed. There you go. There's numerous reports coming out, and from what I'm hearing, it's at the table playing with structure, and that is it. Gyokeres to Arsenal is done. Tamina is also coming in and saying that Gyokeres medical is booked for Friday. When it's coming to that point, we're pretty much signed, sealed, delivered that Gyokeres is an Arsenal player. Back onto Eze, though. Back onto Eze. Now, the way I see it with Eze now and moving into Arsenal. Now, coming off the bench, I'm thinking to myself, yes, he'd be strong enough to come off the bench all day for Martin Odegaard. But in my opinion, Eze also gives me another option up front. Now, I know Arsenal aren't a team to play 4-4-2. Now, when we have Victor Gyokeres there, Victor Gyokeres is a different type of forward to what Eze is. Victor Gyokeres being what, 6 foot plus? This is 6'1". He's a big boy. He doesn't look big, but he's a big boy. Eze being, of course, a shorter player, an attacking-minded player, more of a midfielder, but also can play forward. It gives us a different dynamic. Do you know what I mean? One playing off the other. I could play Gyokeres and play Eze. I know this sounds silly, but side by side in almost a 4-4-2 if I had to. Maybe you drop one midfielder, whether it be Odegaard, you play Declan Rice and you play Zubimendi, and you literally go and attack a low block with Gyokeres, Saka, Rodrigo, and Eze, and Declan Rice and Zubimendi holding up the back line. I don't know. The dynamic for me with Eze, it's so many possibilities. And I think with that in mind, it's a possibility that this Rodrigo deal, if we get Eze, we make the move on Rodrigo, I think that's going to be the end of our window. What do you think? If we were to sign Rodrigo as well now, are we out of the market for any other players?
Well, with the way we are moving right now, also with the links with Noni Madueke, it looks like we really want to bring in somebody who's going to debutize for Bukayo Saka, somebody who's who also has the ability to potentially do a job on the left wing, because I think like Noni Madueke also is also relatively a young winger. Is somebody who also has room for improvement, but I put Eberechi Eze up there above the likes of Noni, because I think Eze is the way more developed kind of player. So, but I think if we bring in Eberechi Eze, I still feel like we are still out there to bring in a backup for Bukayo Saka, and probably that kind of player who could also get the job done on the left wing. Because if you notice, we were also interested in Leroy Sané. We had reports that we were interested in Leroy Sané, and Noni Madueke is more of a player of that same profile like Leroy Sané, even though Sané is a way more developed player, a way more experienced player who I consider more a player who has passed his prime, in my opinion. So I think Noni Madueke is just a different version of that kind of player. So I think even if we don't go out there and sign Noni Madueke, I still feel like we would bring in a right winger that could also possibly play on the left side.
And with a player like, see, the thing is when you buy a player like Eze,
yeah,
who fits the mold in so many different positions,
mm.
it makes me wonder. What's playing around in Mikel's head, because Ethan Wanyeri, a great number 10, a decent number 10. Eze, a decent number 10. That gives you depth. I understand that gives you depth. Does that give you a different dynamic? Do we take off Martin Odegaard and bring in Eze and Ethan Wanyeri and say, let's play this as just, bang for your buck football? Let these guys express themselves. Because if we keep Ethan Wanyeri, we hold on to Eze, that's going to make it look. Ethan, if Eze comes to Arsenal, now I'm going to ask this to the chat. If Eze comes to Arsenal, what does this mean for Ethan? Does he get minutes, or is he now an outcast? Now, he has a long contract. It's not like we have to sell him. But what does it mean for Ethan Wanyeri? I think it means that, in my opinion, that he's going to have to fight for the minutes that he has. Just going to put it out there, guys. I am going to do something different. I haven't done it on my channel before, but I'm gonna make this a call-in show. So I'm gonna chuck in a link to the show. Anyone who wants to jump on, just do me a favor. Make sure you've got a decent mic and you've got a camera. And if you've got your views on Eze, or you want to throw a few things back and forth with me and Akbos, by all means, you're going to have the opportunity to do so on my channel. So give me 1 sec. I'm just going to create a link. I'm going to post this into the chat. Boom. So, guys, anyone who wants to jump on and have their say in regards to Eze and or some chit chat about Gyokeres, by all means, you can have it. Gyokeres, from what I'm hearing, Ashley, is that it's literally structural now. It's just how the payments are going to be processed. Much like Eze, if we were to pay the transfer fee, his release clause, it would be a massive chunk in the release clause we'd have to pay. I think Arsenal are trying to structure this because they have moves for Eze and they have eyes for Rodrigo at the moment. Adam says, I am happy with Eze, Gyokeres, and Rodrigo. I like that. Akbos, you? Would that be good enough for you this season?
I do. Definitely. I'll be excited.
Man, I can't wait for an attacking line like that. But look, at the moment, I'm looking at the release clause. And look, if you look at Transfer Market, and I was looking at Transfer Market actually has Eze at, what, £47 million? Now, I don't know, you can use it as sort of, take it with a pinch of salt. But everyone in the chat, what do you think Eze is actually worth? Akbos, your thoughts? What do you think Eze is actually worth in today's market?
Yeah,
don't forget, he's 27.
Yeah, into this market, especially looking at this age, I think around 65 million should be able to get a deal done for Eze, in my opinion, into this market. Also considering the fact that it's 27 already, so he's already in that prime level. So, but if you look at Eze's numbers in the last 3 years has been very consistent. And Eze, for me, I think he's the kind of midfielder that has got everything. If I test, when you watch him, you enjoy watching him play. When you check the statistics, the numbers can also back the performance that is dishing out on the pitch. So for me, I think Eze is the kind of player who, if he walks into any top team in the Premier League today, I think it would not take him a lot of time to settle in, a lot of time to continue to replicate what he's doing over there at Palace, as long as he stays fit. So I think around there about 65 million should be a very good deal for Eze.
That's big. I mean, I'd love to see him in an Arsenal kit for £50 million, but it's going to be a big ask, especially with what.
Yeah.
Don't forget, FA Cup winner. You know, the man shows up, scores the one and only, right? And let's be
Exactly.
honest, that goal. It wasn't like he wasn't under pressure.
Mm.
He had a defender on his tails.
Difference
See
maker.
how he finished it? Huh? Sorry, was that? Sorry, Akpos?
I said Eze is a difference maker, not just that they won the year. Exactly. He contributed to winning the FA Cup.
The way he finished, though, as well. Under pressure, runs into the center of the box, ball comes in, no problem, under pressure, and the way he finishes it, clean, crisp, and it was in his own stride. It was like, yep, gonna do this, no worries, I'm just gonna score this and get down there and get ready. I'm too busy thinking about my celebration before I've scored. This is gonna happen. The confidence. You could see it, the way his body movement. It was just perfect. It was a boop, okay, this is my celebration time now. And it was done. I mean, look, if he leaves Palace tomorrow, he leaves them on a high. And I think Palace, don't get me wrong, they're going to be losing a player of quality, but at least they can thank him for his time. I mean, his career has been somewhat, in a bit of turmoil since leaving Arsenal. Not leaving, actually asked to leave Arsenal, from Fulham to blah, 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 and then finally to QPR before he was sold to Palace. And I think it was only 17 million that Palace paid for him. It was absolutely nothing. Luca in the building. Luca talks Dons. Hi guys, big up yourself, Luca. Hope you're doing well. What do we have here? Luca saying he's here. Here we go. Adam Emiliano. Madueke can stay at Chelsea, says Adam. I couldn't agree with you more. I think it would be a waste of any kind of money for Arsenal to go after Madueke. But the only thing I can think of is that it's just another Berta smokescreen. I don't know about you, Akpos. Do you really think that we'd go for him?
Well, I think like one part of me want to feel like it's a smoke screen. Another part, I'm looking at some of the links, the link with Leroy Sané, earlier part of the window, and he eventually moved to Galatasaray, where they are going to be paying him a lot of money. He moved on a free. So that comes with also more money for him. So, but I think looking at the fact that we're linked with Leroy Sané, a right-sided winger who is left-footed, can play on the left, and now we are linked with Noni Madueke, who I consider, kind of very similar kind of profile. It gives me the kind of vibe that Mikel Arteta does not really have a lot of confidence in Ethan Nwaneri, and I think that is also why the contract extension is taking some time, because Ethan has seen the picture from last season and he's looking at the links. His people are definitely looking at the links because according to the reports, it's Ethan's entourage, his team that are asking for some kind of assurance when it comes to game time now. So I feel his people are not really convinced that if Arsenal go out there to do the business that they are linked with now, Ethan would get minutes that will be deserving of of his talent, in my opinion. So I think that is also a concern for Ethan. I think that is also one we need to keep our eye on, because Chelsea are also keeping tabs with Ethan's situation. And according to the reports, they also tried to inquire when we inquired on Noni Madueke, and we pushed them back that hold up. This is not why we initiated the conversation. It's a totally different topic. So for me, I think the way I'm hearing the talks of Noni Madueke, it looks that we are really serious on that one. And I feel it is something that if Chelsea are willing to, lower their valuation of the player to meet what we value Noni Madueke, I think that is the signing that we will see happen very quickly.
If it's bare bones. But guys, look, I'm going to add Munzi into this discussion. Munzi, here you go, my guy. It's been a long time, Munzi. It's been a long time. Man United fan, everybody. Man United fan.
Don't shout that out too loud, Jesus. Don't shout that out too loud, Jesus Christ. I'm good.
You good?
I'll just come on. Like, I think if you do get Gyokeres, I think it's going to be like when Haaland went to City, I think you're gonna smash it. So I think that's what you're missing. You're missing someone to put the ball in the net. We're missing like half a team. But yeah, I think if you get him, I think it's gonna be scary. I think he'll get you over the line. Hopefully for your sake, not for mine. But yeah, I think you get him. I think that's it. You're gonna win the league next year.
You reckon? What do you think about this Eze move? If we pull in Eze, Gyokeres, and I mean Rodrigo, are we talking? You reckon?
Eze would be good for you, but I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. I just think it's future. If you get it, I want United, but happening. But yeah, I think if you get him, I think it's game over. I think win the league. Which I hate to say, but I think
it's horrible, man. It's horrible to see where Man United are at the moment, but where Arsenal are at the moment, look, it's a different world for Arsenal at the moment. We're looking at player after player, and we're making moves. United in a different phase when it comes to where they are as a club, where they are as a team. 15th, 16th last season, a new manager, a new dynamic, a new style of play. And from what I believe for United, it's going to mean a lot of new players to make those new ideas come to fruition. How patient United are going to be and United fans are, that's a different thing. But Arsenal, on the other hand, on the up. Unfortunately, Banter FC. Sorry, man. Sorry, Munzie. That's not us, man. It's got to have to hand that over to you guys. Let you guys have that for now, and hopefully, in the near future, it can be the Man United Arsenal like it was back in the day, because those were good times, going toe to toe against Man United. Like this, I don't know. It's a bit strange. It's like you guys have become the modern day Nottingham Forest, if you know what I mean. Munzie, you're muted. Oh, look, I'm gonna let Munzie go. I think he's muted himself. He might be.
Yeah.
God knows where. Yeah, I'm gonna let him go. Okay, Munzie, thanks for the chat, dude.
Big
I'll
up,
catch you
Munzie.
later, man. So, guys, at the moment, the chit chat about Eze. From what I saw, Adam has actually put into the chat that Eze's release clause is available in 3 installments: £20 million, £8 million in add-ons. I wasn't aware of that. From what I heard, it was going to be 63 million there most, with a large sum to be paid up front, anywhere between 45 to 50 million. But if it's going to be a structured deal like that, I can't see why it can't happen. I can't see why that wouldn't happen now. Do you know what I mean, Akpos?
Yeah.
I mean, with Gyokeres already over the table, let's be honest, the structure, it'll literally be, I think it's, sorry for jumping in, I think it's Gyokeres through the door and then Eze right after. Would you believe that, Akpos?
From you feel Gyokeres then Eze, that's the way it's going to be.
You reckon?
Definitely
Gyokeres first.
I think the way I'm looking at it, one part of me is feeling Gyokeres first, and then maybe Noni. But the other part of me, the way I really want it should be Gyokeres first, then Eze. Get Eze into the door. If they can get a good deal for Noni, they want him. If they cannot, assure Ethan Nwaneri. I love us to keep Ethan Nwaneri. Ethan Nwaneri, I would love him to have the role that we could potentially be using Noni Madueke for. But I don't know if the manager is really convinced with Ethan. I just feel like there's a little something there. Maybe it's me. I might be wrong though. So, but I would love it to be in that order with which you proposed it. Get Gyokeres in the door and go all out to agree a deal for Eberechi Eze, and I think the next big one should be Rodrigo Gyokeres.
I think so. I think you're right. Level of importance, right?
Yeah.
Luca, just letting you know, this is a call-in show. Yes, it is. If you go through the chat, there will be a StreamYard link in there. by all means, click on the link, jump in. Munzie's had his chit chat, his time. I'd love your views on the situation that is Arsenal right now and the discussion that is Eze. Is it easy? Is Eze easy, or is it going to be difficult? In my opinion, if we're going to be getting in Madueke after the fact of Eze, I don't believe, and I really don't think that if we go for Madueke after this, that there's no chance with Rodrigo through the door. There's no way that can happen. And to be honest, would that be? I mean, without a Rodrigo to add to this firing to this front line, what does that mean next season? Are we still gassed? Do we still think we've got this, or is it Gyokeres, Rodrigo bare minimum with an Eze as surplus for us to be able to challenge Akpos?
Well, for me, I think if we bring in Rodrigo, Eze, and Gyokeres, I will be very confident going into next season. I will be confident. I will, go into next season like, yes, we are really serious with business. But if we are not able to bring in a Rodrigo or bring in another left wing specialist, then I would still feel like we still have we are still leaving the window with one key area unsolved, one key area, attended to. I would look at that as some kind of shortcoming out of this window. But if we go out there and bring in a Rodrigo Goes, or maybe bring in a Rafael Leo, maybe bring in Ademola Lookman, for example, I think either of those guys could potentially do a massive job for us on that left side and will be an upgrade to a Gabriel Martinelli, in my opinion. Some might not agree with respect to Rodrigo Goes and some of the names I've mentioned in my top three for me. But I think that left wing is a wing that we've left unresolved for a long period of time. I remember when Rafinha was still playing in the Premier League with Leeds United. We were interested to bring in Rafinha to play on that left side, Bukayo Saka on the right side. And we know a lot has happened. A lot of water has gone under the bridge since Rafinha moved to Barcelona. He has won the leagues there. He has, moved from a player who was almost 1 feet out of the door in Barcelona to a player who could potentially be mentioned in the Ballon d'Or top contenders with respect to his performances last season for Barcelona and how he was integral in that La Liga win last season. So for me, I think we've left that wing. We've been starving in that left wing for a long time. And now is the right time for us to go out there and bring in a statement signing on that left side. So I feel we really need to go out there, sort out that left wing before we go out there to, bring in maybe a backup right wing. I think that left wing is also a priority, as important as the number 9 position, in my opinion.
Honestly, 100%. For me, it's been a key element for Arsenal. For me, has always been the 11. And Adam's got a great one. Lookman over Madueke every day and night. And I couldn't agree with you more. Madueke, for me, feels like a smokescreen. In my opinion, the 11 is... Gyokeres is important. A 9 is important, 100%. But the way Arsenal plays on the wings, we've always played on the wing. We never played down the centre because we didn't have a 9 anyway. And with the way the 11's position has been sort of, how can I say, anemic to an extent, there's been no depth on the 11. There's been nothing. I mean, Trossard comes in for 15 minutes, does his bit, and he's done. Martinelli could get 90 minutes and you do nothing but go from post to post. It makes us a very 1D, one-dimensional team, and that's horrible. So for me, the 11 is key. And without a real signing, a statement signing, much like what Akpos was saying, it's going to leave us very much exposed. Yes, Gyokeres will help, Saka will be great, and Eze would be perfect as well. But if you don't sign for the starting line, and especially in fill the gaps in the starting line, what are you doing, in my opinion? Tamina comes in and says, no talks between Madueke and Arsenal, says David. Oh, I hope so. I hope so. Adiri says, hi, Gooners, how are you? Is Anthony Elanga doing a medical at Newcastle United now? Not certain. I don't know, Akpos, do you know anything about Elanga doing...
I don't know about the medicals. I'm not sure yet. I will have to look that up. But I thought I saw that the transfer was a year ago. That's what I saw on Fabrizio's Romano's post, I think. Let me pull that up if he's doing a medical or not. But it seems like that one is done.
It's not a bad signing. Not a bad signing for Newcastle.
No, for them, not a bad signing. But I think I look at Elanga. I look at Elanga. I put him on the same mold as your kind of Gabriel Martinelli. I would even take Martinelli ahead of him.
Yeah, you'd flip a coin on them. I would. Tamina comes in and says, "Look, and for a Trossard and Rodrigo for Martinelli." What do you mean? Look, and for Trossard and Rodrigo for Martinelli. I don't know. What do you mean there? I'm not certain what you mean there, Tamina. I'm not 100% certain. Sorry, you got me on that one.
I think he was trying to say Lookman. I don't know. I think there's an M. Maybe an M is missing.
Lookman for Trossard, Rodrigo for Martinelli. Oh my God, you do that. Maybe. You do that. You do that. You do that. We're talking about the league. You do that. We're talking about the league. Imagine Lookman coming off the bench or Rodrigo coming off the bench. I don't care who scores, man, as long as they're scoring. Tamina's sitting there saying, United fans crying, we got Victor Gyokeres. They're crying. So Spurs fans talking about Eze. They've wanted him all day. It's fucking horrible what's happening at the moment. Tamina also saying, yes, Arsenal will win all of the trophies this season. Very, very keen. I'm not that confident, but I'm hoping that if we can make the right acquisitions, that Arsenal will at least make it interesting for the Liverpools and the Manchester Cities this season. Hopefully, it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough for them. What do we have here? Tamina's sitting there saying United fans crying because they got DCL as their striker. He was offered. So Dominic Calvert-Lewin is now he's a free agent and he's been offered to Man United. Relax.
I thought I saw something on X. I don't know how true it is. That three free agent strikers were offered to Manchester United. Dominic Calvert-Lewin. What's the other one? Jamie Vardy and Callum Wilson.
You're kidding, Jamie Vardy?
Yeah.
Isn't he like 55? Oh my God. Joseph in the building. Big up my guy. We really need a Saka replacement. We need to look at both sides, left wing or right wing. This is where we have problems at right now. I wouldn't say a replacement. I would say possibly a depth signing, in my opinion. I wouldn't be ready to replace Saka. The injury that he had was massive. But I think what we should be looking for is, in my opinion, respectfully, I think that the 11 needs to be a starting line player coming in for the 11. But the number 7 role being Saka's, being a backup, someone who can come in and do a job. I don't know, Akpos, what do you think?
Yeah, and this is also one of the reasons why the move to Arsenal would be very mouth-watering for Noni Madueke, because Noni Madueke is currently on about 50,000 or 40,000 pounds per week. And if he moves to Arsenal now, he's going to get some kind of increase, let's say about 80 to 100,000 pounds. Let's say, because I think going into the next season, I feel like Noni has got a lot of competition, and definitely there will be some kind of rotation. So he will be a rotation player for Chelsea next season, be collecting there about 50,000 pounds. And if he moves to Arsenal, a rotation player for more money and a chance to also play in a team competing to win the league. So I think that offer is mouth-watering for Noni Madueke, and that's why it did not take him much time to agree personal terms with Arsenal. I think the other what's stopping that deal right now, it's the valuation of Chelsea, according to the reports that we all have seen out there. So what we need to do is bring in a cover, a player that will be willing to play second fiddle to Saka, because I think also that's one of the reasons why a player like let me throw a name out there, like Brian Mbeumo, for example, would not be keen to come to Arsenal, because if he comes, he's going to sit on the bench. Because you know that Saka is the talisman of this team. Saka is the face of the club. So Saka definitely is going to play all the big games, the Champions League game, the Premier League game. Saka is going to start. So definitely what we need is a player that could come in for us. 60, 70 minutes of the game, Arsenal 3 goals up, 3-1 up, 4 goals up. The player comes in to reduce the workload for Bukayo Saka, and some of those games where his workload will be on the eye in terms of our statistics for him. That player could also start. Saka coming in the second half to get some minutes, and also the FA Cup games, the League Cup games. I think we also need to maintain Saka's load to keep it in a safe region for next season. Also to try to make sure that we keep this player as fit as possible. I think we are looking at all of these options, in my opinion. That so also we need a player that would accept.
I think the Saka situation is an important one. I think Saka is as important to us as Mohamed Salah is to Liverpool. He is our Salah. And yes, we have to take care of him because he has been overplayed. And hence the reason for this Eze deal. I mean, Eze playing the left. Yes, he can play the right. He's a foot soldier. And I think what you need for Bukayo Saka is a foot soldier to come off the bench. Ethan Nwaneri, look, I rate him highly. But when I see Eze as well, it gives me more of an option. Eze can play on the left if he has to. Yeah. And to be honest, right now, if I had Eze at Arsenal right now, I would start him on the left.
Definitely.
Over Trossard and Martinelli right now.
I would.
But the good thing about this, it's depth in numbers.
Yeah.
Ethan can play that right wing if he has to. Eze can play the right wing if he comes into Arsenal if he has to. And if we do get a starting 11, it's about depth. Arsenal right now are literally, if they can get Eze and Gyokeres over the line, an 11 away from having one hand on the title, in my opinion. Now, I know it's big statement.
Big ask.
But it's one hand on the title, in my opinion. I don't know, Akpos. Would you say, now look, I know it's putting it out there, early days, but with the signing of Eze and, let's say, Rodrigo, are we close? Are Arsenal that
bro?
Are they close?
I would say we have never been close in the last couple of years. If we are able to bring in marquee signings in this mode, Eze for me is a top signing. I would consider him also as one top signing. Rodrigo for me a marquee signing when we want to consider the club is going to be coming from the experience, the backload of win experience is going to be coming with from Real Madrid. The kind of impact he has made in the UEFA Champions League, because one thing why a lot of persons, and me inclusive, like a player like Rodrigo is the fact that he steps up in the big occasion, a step up in the big stage. And this is what we need more. A player that when push comes to shove, your Cities, your Liverpool game, you need a player to show up. Maybe we are one goal down. We need one goal to win the game. That's the kind of player Rodrigo comes in. He comes in and give you an assist. He comes in and score for you. And we saw what he did against Manchester City in that UEFA Champions League semi-finals. What he also did against Osasuna in the Copa del Rey final. So I think this is the player who is a clutch player. Some people would like to call him. Is a player that will step up in the big occasion. So bringing in a player in that mode to, and he also has some kind of statement to also make that, yes, I can go from being one of the guys at Real Madrid to be a star player, a superstar player. I think he also needs to make that kind of statement, because it looks like he's been displaced out of the starting 11 now at Real Madrid, and he's going to be, going to a different club where he needs to stamp his foot down. He needs to find that consistency that is lacking, because we've seen him play several positions for the Real Madrid team, but we know that this guy has been screaming that I want to play in the left wing. So he also has a point to prove. So bringing in a player like Rodrigo, I feel like he's still very much hungry to win more. He's still very much hungry to show that, yes, I did it with the likes of Vinicius Jr. and Real Madrid and the likes of Jude Bellingham, but I can also come to a club, another big team like Arsenal, and be the superstar and be a star man also for them. So I think Rodrigo is a signing that would be a very exciting one. And coupled with the fact that we are almost getting Victor Gyokeres in the door. So I think these two guys, if they're coming into that front three, that is a massive statement. That is a statement of intent. And the club and ownership will be showing a lot of ambition to win the big trophies, in my opinion.
It's a massive move for a massive player. Alexis Sanchez vibes. Back in the day, left wing. Rodrigo can play left and right. He doesn't want to play the right, but he can play. You get an Eze in who can play the left. Now, this is that versatility that Arsenal need. Eze can play left, he can play 10. He can play up front as well. He can play as a striker. I mean, he's not going to be great. He's not the biggest striker, but he can play in a partnership. But if you have a player like Rodrigo come in, Saka does get injured. Hopefully not. Rodrigo can play the right if he has to. Eze can play and hold in on the left. Gyokeres in the middle, and the injury to Saka, yes, as much as it would hurt Arsenal, wouldn't be as detrimental as it was last season. Again, it's strength in numbers, it's depth. Players of quality coming off the bench for Arsenal. Players of quality happy to be on the bench for Arsenal. I mean, Eze to be on the bench for Arsenal, that's pretty big for him to leave Crystal Palace to come to Arsenal to be off the bench for an opportunity to play for his boyhood club. Just an opportunity. That's massive. It tells you how far we've grown as a club. But players are happy to come in and say, look, I'm happy. Maybe I'm not guaranteed minutes. Ethan Wanyeri, right? Maybe I'm not guaranteed minutes. But an opportunity to prove myself in the biggest team in London and maybe make a name for myself is good enough for me. And I think that's what Eze is doing. I think Gyokeres obviously knows his minutes are going to be there. But, again, you said it yesterday, and I'll agree with it. Kai Havertz starts hitting the back of the net, and he's doing it better than Gyokeres. Kai Havertz starts. It's the best player on the pitch, not the name, not the status, not the shirt. I don't care. It just doesn't matter to me at all if it's going to be Arsenal, it's going to be wins, it's going to be goals. It's not about the name on the back of the shirt. Joseph in the building says, please, who's going to wear the 14? Also number 10. I think we should give it to Gyokeres, 14, and Eze 10. Am I right on that? Eze 10 off the bench.
Ooh. And bro, I wanted to say something about Eze. For me, I think Eze is going to come and try to take off the shirt of Martin Odegaard, in my opinion, because Eze, for you to be spending close to £60 million, Eze is going to come like, look, I'm not going to come here and sit on the bench. I'm gunning for this guy's position. You understand? So that is also something that I want to keep my eye on, and something that I'm interested to see, where players are going to come into the club and be gunning to take the shirt off the starter. And I feel like Martin Odegaard needs that kind of competition, because a little bit, I felt like at some point he got a little bit too comfortable with his position as, being the captain. There is no replacement. So I think apologies for that. So I think bringing in Eze is not just going to come and say, I want to sit on the bench. He's going to come and try to fight for his place in the team. He's going to come and try to fight for that starting spot with Martin Odegaard. And like you were saying, may the best man win. Arsenal will be the winner also.
That's what it's about. At the end of the day, may the best man win. It's the right player for the position, and that's it. Martin Odegaard, he's the captain. Who knows? Eze coming to Arsenal might light a fire under Odegaard, and we might see another version of him that we haven't even been introduced to.
Exactly.
You never know. The competition breeds a bit of fear and fire. Both start with F. It just depends on which one you want to utilize. At the end of the day, Arsenal right now in a very good position to sign Eze. The deal itself could be done within the next 2 to 3 weeks. I think, just like Akpos was saying, Gyokeres will be first. I do believe that Gyokeres will probably be done by the end of this week. From what I'm hearing, fees are agreed. It's about the terms and structure. On the other hand, the fees hasn't been agreed. So I guess we're going to see. But Fabrizio Romano already saying that this deal is pretty much done. And Eze has already come out and made a statement that he only wants Arsenal if he's going to be moving from Crystal Palace. Now, look, Crystal Palace are going to command a decent fee of around £60 million. And yes, Gyokeres is going to be the number one target before we can move on any other player. Now, how that deal is structured for Eze, as Adam was saying earlier, it could be 20 plus 20 plus 20, which would be wonderful, which still opens up the door for us to move on another player. Now, Rodrigo is out there, and apparently the fee would be anywhere between 70 to 80 million pound. That would mean the end of the transfer window for Arsenal if that was to happen. But again, it's Berta holding all the cards and the keys to the safe. And he is trying to do his best to get us the best possible deal when it comes to these players. And you know what? I think one of the best signings Arsenal has made in recent times would be Andre Berta, because he's doing a lot of work. Unlike what I saw from Edu, who was throwing out money to Marquinhos. If you remember when Marquinhos came to Arsenal, we couldn't get him for free, but we still handed over £2 million.
Yeah.
Now we're going to be losing him for nothing. That's another player that needs to move on. But guys, I am going to end this stream here. I won't be talking Eze until Eze becomes more of a chit-chat. More than likely in the next week or two, we're going to hear a lot more in regards to it. Once Gyokeres is through, I think Eze will be coming through the door as well. But guys, if you haven't already checked out Akpos's channel, Akpos, please tell them where they can find you, my guy.
Well, you can always find me on here, and also you can find me on Football in Pidgin on the different social media platform where, you know, I'm doing football content in the Pidgin lingua. So shout out to everybody who made to this show a success. And if you've not leave us a like, do us a favor and support the channel with a like. And also you can also share the stream with your friends and family. And bro, thanks once again for having me on the
Man, it's been an absolute pleasure. It's been an absolute pleasure. And guys, in the comments, if you could, give me your best 3 signings for this transfer window. Not what we already have. Okay, Zubimendi could be part of it. But is it Zubimendi, Gyokeres? Sorry, your best 4. You know, Zubimendi obviously already through the door. You can add him. You have your Gyokeres and or Šeško if that was your guy. If it's Eze, if it's Rodrigo, chuck it in the comments. Let me know what you think. I'm quick to get back in the comments and we can banter back and forth. But look, from the Aussie Guna, from Magpos, from everyone in Australia, it's Uru, guys. Uru.